Hey guys, today we're going to be jumping into the Infinite History event with the LR androids, double LR androids actually, so 150% stats to android team and 4 key. Taking these items, but I don't imagine we'll need to use them just because this team is absolutely ridiculous. So let's get started right away. This is pretty close to the team that I took last time against the other stage, but obviously this LR, the purpose of this video is to show off the LR, right? And one of the big flaws, well, not really a flaw, but something that is limiting with them is that they can only really be used with the androids category. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just they're coming out with more and more units recently, I feel like, that have been extremely limited in multiple senses. So like the LR Gohan and LR Cell, I think more so LR Gohan, because just the fact that he basically requires that you use Android 16 on your team to transform, or have an Android category unit. I think it's Android Cell Saga category unit on your team to transform, where you're facing off against one. So that, in combination with the fact that you pretty much need a Super Saiyan Goku on the same rotation, not even the same team, to activate his extra 59% buff I believe he gets when he's transformed. It just makes the character a lot more limited than we're used to seeing in this game. Now, I'm not going to say that the LR androids are as limited as Gohan, because they're not. Just the fact that let me just, yeah, this looks good here. Just the fact that they're obviously like an insane LR. Just throwing that out there because they are. And I've seen a lot of people say that they're average, or that they're not great, which is just not the case. Because I mean, over 100,000 defense. Obviously, they're rainbow. We have a support on rotation, but they're giving the whole rotation 40% attack and 2 key. So I mean, yeah. So they're really good. It's just you're not really going to get as much value out of them as you would with a lot of other like exceptional units. So like take for example, I don't know who's like pretty much any Dokkan Fest unit. Even the Gohan or Cell, because if you look at Gohan or Cell, they can be on multiple teams and they'll function decently well, but they won't be able to unleash their maximum potential. This unit, if they're on another team that's not Android heavy, they're not really going to be doing like anything. I mean, they're going to be buffing themselves, but they're not going to buff anything that's not that's not a part of the androids category. So like take for example, if you have the LR AGL Gohan on Hybrid Saiyans, he's not going to transform, but he's still really good, like untransformed, right? Whereas if you take this guy, or these Android LR, this Android LR on a team like, I don't know, they belong on Joined Forces. If you bring them to joined forces, they're not going to perform well at all because they're only buffing themselves, and none of the other allies in your team are going to be part of the androids category unless you decide to bring like the AGL LR androids. So I mean, in that sense, it's kind of hard to call them like one of the best units in the game, because even though I think they are in terms of power on this specific team, it's just very I don't know, it's hard to explain. It just feels very limiting in what you can do with them, because if it's not this team, then you really can't use them. I don't really know what else to say. Like if you didn't have Android, if you didn't have good Android units to make a team out of them, then I would definitely tell you not to summon on this banner, and that this unit is pretty much useless for you. Even though there are a lot of good free-to-play androids, I just feel like you could be doing a lot of other stuff with your stones than spending it on this banner. But yeah, I mean, on this team, in this specific situation, they are like absolutely ridiculous. Get a lot of people asking me, just look at their stats real fast. Yeah, 135k, it's pretty good. I get a lot of people asking me how I would rank them. I guess in the top, like among the top of the LR list, like how good do I think they are in comparison to other LRs? And because I've been thinking about this for a while now, and I don't really see a point in really ranking LRs according to how good they are, because there's, at this point in Dokkan, there's so many different modes that require different strategies that I don't even know if it's worth it to sit down and sort of rank each unit on like a like a one basic list, because each unit does something unique and different most of the time, so that you could come up with different results depending on who you ask and what you're considering when making the list. So for example, if you were going to bring it, like if you were thinking of just Dokkan events, right? The best units in the game for that is going to differ tremendously from like the best units in the game for Super Battle Road or the Legendary Goku event or even this event. So I don't know. It's just like what do you consider when thinking of the best units in the game? Personally, I would probably consider Super Battle Road and then the Goku event. I don't even think this is considered. Like, it makes sense when I say that I don't really consider Dokkan events in the discussion for like what unit is the best, because let's say, so I don't know, like LR Goku and Frieza probably hit the hardest like in the game still with one attack, but it's like they're not the best unit in the game, I don't think. But I think for Dokkan events and stuff like that, they're probably top 2. Just because of the fact that they can clear it faster, they just deal with everything a lot faster and more efficient than other units in the game. So that's what I would say about that. But when you consider Goku and Frieza in the realm of the Legendary Goku event, like they're not even that impressive at all compared to other units, you know, that are able to stack defense and then provide utility for the team and stuff like that. That's more important in an event that goes on for a long time and hits a lot harder, like the Goku event does. So I don't know, it just feels like it doesn't really make sense to sort of continue on with the discussion of, oh, what unit is quote-unquote the best, or what unit is quote-unquote, you know, better at doing than something else. So I don't know, it's just, I feel like it's better just not have that discussion anymore, or at least if you do have that discussion, it's better to just point out, okay, in terms of this event, what do you think is the best unit? Or in terms of something else, like what do you think is the best unit for that? So I don't know. It's tough, but I think, I don't know, because I'm probably gonna end up doing 2 videos on these guys. So this video, and then probably one more video on Super Battle Road, because I feel like it's gonna be completely different, and these guys are gonna be able to show completely different merits for each event. Like for this event, it's pretty easy. I don't even think this is as close to as hard as Super Battle Road is, at least the category Super Battle Road stages. So we'll just continue this. What are we at? Yeah, same. It's pretty much the same value there. This rotation should take him out. Pretty close to a Dokkan attack. I think we'll just get these greens here. Yeah. So let me have you guys think about that. I don't know. It feels like ranking Dokkan units at this point, there needs to be more of a foundation and an understanding about in terms of what are we ranking units of. Like, are we ranking them in terms of Dokkan events? Or are we ranking them in terms of the Goku event? Or are we ranking them in terms of this Infinite History event, Easy A's? Like, it's just, and I feel like that's a reason why a lot of recent units like Gohan, like Cell, specifically those two, have been sort of like, I don't know, specific in what they can do and what they can't do. So like Cell, for example, is probably a top 2 unit in the game for Super Battle Road, just because of the way his passive works. But then when you consider him in terms of like regular Dokkan events, or even, yeah, I think regular Dokkan events, like, he doesn't even come close to being the best unit in the game, just because so many other units do way more damage than him, and he doesn't really provide any utility in his defense, because you're not really going to take that much damage anyway from Dokkan events. You can just have like a semi-tank unit that, has like 60-70k defense, and you're fine for Dokkan events. Should we go ahead and transform here? I think I'll just wait one more. I think I'll wait one more phase, and then we'll transform. So I don't know. It's tough to say. Actually, we're gonna get Dokkan mode here. I think we are. And then Gohan, on the other hand, he is really good in Super Battle Road, but the thing with Super Battle Road for Gohan is that he's so limited in his team options that it's really hard to transform with him. And it's odd, I feel like, because his transformation is designed to be exceptional against multiple enemies, because he gets an additional super attack that greatly raises his defense for one turn. and the 12 key super attack, they intentionally made it so where it does mega colossal damage. So guaranteed additional with mega colossal damage greatly raises defense for 1 turn. That is like dumb for Super Battle Road, but you're never gonna get it really unless you like specifically build your team around him and make like some very weird team to do that with. So I don't really know. I feel like Gohan is definitely better on the Legendary Goku event, obviously because of his stacking of defense and stuff like that, while Cell is better in Super Battle Road. And I feel like they've intentionally been making way more units that are tailored to certain events than they have in the past. And those are just 2 examples. Another example would be the Tech Trunks, who just continuously stacks his defense. And pretty much, if you've noticed, since that Goku event has come out, there's been so many units that just stack their defensive nilly. And I feel like that is definitely a push at people to try and pull for those units so that they can have an easier time clearing that event. And I don't think that's like a far-fetched theory. Okay, I think we saw the same thing with Super Battle Road as well. I mean, before Super Battle Road came out, defense essentially was meaningless. I'm talking about the original 10 stages of Super Battle Road, the type stages. I think we'll go ahead and use... Oh, that's annoying. Actually, this is not bad because... So the friend is rainbow as well, so I think we'll go ahead and do this, just so we can... Because the thing with... If we transform this guy, we can't move him, and we want to defend, so we'll do this. And I think we'll keep these guys in rotation. So if you think back to when Super Battle Road first released, a lot of the units back then did not have defense. Because it just simply wasn't important. Like, that was during the 120% meta, I believe, when the original stage was released. And back then it really did not matter. 181,000, yeah, he's fine. It really did not matter how good your defense was. Because if you look at the 120% leaders, like, the only one with decent defense, or the only ones I can think of, I mean, Goku did not. Vegeta definitely had probably, I would say, the best defense out of any of them, maybe besides Janemba. So you had him, you had Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who had 0 defense. You had, who else? I'm trying to remember. You had Gogeta, INT Gogeta, who had no defense. You had the Physical Gotenks, who also had... Physical Gotenks not only did not have no defense, but he also lowered his own defense. So, those are the super types. And then the extreme types, you have Physical Metal Cooler, I mean not Metal Cooler, Physical Final Form Cooler, who was actually really good. He still is really good. His defense is pretty good. And the reason why he still is really good to this day is because of that defense. I think if he only had attack and not defense, he would not be like even close to as good. So you had him, you had Super 17, who's, he's not bad. I think people don't give him enough credit these days, but I feel like he obviously could be a lot better. You have Strength Janemba, who honestly I think is also really underrated, but he just gets completely overshadowed by the INT Janemba after his EZA. You have Tech Broly, who's he's like probably, I think he is the worst Dokkan Fest unit in the game. Him or Blue Kaioken. I don't know. They're both horrible. Like, Broly literally gets like blasted by Dokkan events. That's like pathetic. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. I think that's it. So out of all of those units, like there's only like 2 or 3 that have like respectable defense. And then once the original 10 stages of Super Battle were released, they started to release units with like, respectable defense and like decent defense. So I feel like that's sort of like, that was the meta back then, you need to have units with defense. Now you need to have units who stack defense, like infinitely stack defense. And yeah, it just depends on like what's, I guess, needed to beat like the hardest units that are out right now. Okay, this is unfortunate that, Cell has like less than like a visible amount of health left. We'll just do this. And then when this rotation comes around again, we can actually, this guy will Android 16 will revert, and then we can actually transform ours and then put them on rotation. So this should be a really high attack stat double support. Yeah, 5.3 million. Alright. Lowered his health a little bit, but it's whatever. Yeah, almost 2 million, no crit. Okay. I really do like this unit a lot. It reminds me a lot of Turles, except you can choose when he transforms, which I think is really cool. I'm going to actually do this. Yeah, because if Turles transforms at a bad time, it's like really, really bad. Because if you're building your team around him, like always having his support passive active, and he transforms, it's really inconvenient, especially if your rotation's already established and you have to sort of kick him off, and then, yeah, I don't know. The healing is nice. I do like the healing on Turles, but I mean, 9 times out of 10, you'd want him to remain as a support unit. So I feel that they sort of accomplish that same feel with this LR Android unit, except obviously you get to choose when they quote unquote transform or exchange, and I think that adds a lot of value to them. Like, it doesn't just go into Android 16 automatically. And it's something else too. There's a lot of damage. I haven't done calculations or anything like that, but just from using the unit a bunch, it feels to me. Oh, that's really annoying. I'm just gonna. Sucks. Whatever. We'll just do this. It feels to me that I get more attack out of these guys when they're not transformed. Like when they're just in their 17 and 18 form. I feel like they generate more attack overall than when they're in their Android 16 form. And that's just based off of the fact that they give their whole rotation 40% attack. So themselves, plus the extra attack they're giving to the rest of the rotation, I feel like in total, sometimes, if not most of the time, adds up to be more or just as much as if they had transformed into Android 16. But the perk with Android 16 is that he does greatly raise his defense for 1 turn when he super attacks, and his defense is obviously much higher, because look at this, 166k versus 105. So I feel like the time when you actually want to use the transformation on Android 16 is when you need more defense, because offensively I don't think it really makes that big of a difference. Yeah, I think we will do... Yeah, we'll do this, it's fine. And we'll get these. That's cool. Hopefully he gets Cell to transform next turn. Maybe? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so, because we'll heal with this, and then Android 16 won't take anything, and then I doubt the androids in the back will take anything, unless they get supered, which could be decent. I mean, we'll do damage for ourselves here. I don't think it'll be enough, though. Okay. It's a lot. 3 million additional attack. And he can get another one after this as well. That's... Yeah, I didn't. No crit either. Okay. Almost 3 million for these guys. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Android 16 had a 4.1 million attack stat, and those androids had basically a 3 million attack stat. But that 3 million attack stat, and then you add on the extra attack they're giving to the 2 other allies, I think pretty often actually ends up evening out with the attack they would have gotten with the Android 16. So just keep that in mind when you're using these guys. What's his defense like? 173, yeah. Pretty much on the same level as the Android 16, so that's insane. I'll do this, and that might honestly be the end. I did go ahead and give my LR androids more additionals. I think I gave them... What did I do? 17.9 or something like that? I think so. Yeah, this is it. This is over. 17 should finish him off here. So yeah, overall, like I've been saying throughout this entire video, I really am a big fan of the LR Android unit. But it's kind of a bummer how they're so limited, but I don't think it's necessarily bad. Just because, you know, androids is... Pretty much once the celebration is over, they're going to be very limited, and they have been pretty limited up until now. But obviously the celebration, they've gotten a lot of good units, like Cell, they got... So these guys, Cell, you got the INT Android 16, you got the Cell Juniors, all the free-to-play units, so... And we're about to get the Android... I think we're about to get the Super Android 13's Easy A, so... This team is continuously getting a lot of respect, but obviously, you know, limitations are always, you know, never fun. So anyway, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you all in the next one.